Hello and welcome to a brand new episode of the Chicken Box. I'm your host Jay. It's just me by myself this week, but I've got two pretty amazing guests. Obviously, it's March, so it is Multiple Sclerosis Awareness Month. So we're going to dig right into a very, very great conversation with Dr. Lekeia Conway and Angie Spence. So I'm going to read your bios here before we get started. Dr. Lekeia Conway is a leader, innovator, and advocate committed to improving the quality of life for women living with chronic disease. As a co-founder and president of Alpha Eta Phi Multiple Sclerosis Society, Inc., she has helped establish a national sisterhood that provides structured support, education, and community for women affected by multiple sclerosis, addressing the emotional and practical challenges of the diagnosis. Also, we have Angie Spence, who is a content creator, advocate, and entrepreneur dedicated to sharing real, unfiltered conversations about life, health, and personal growth. She is the host of the No Shoes podcast, a platform built on the belief that meaningful conversations happen when nothing is dressed up and people can speak honestly about their own experiences. She is also a co-founder of the Alpha Eta Phi Multiple Sclerosis Sorority, Inc., an organization founded in 2021 to support and empower women living with multiple sclerosis through sisterhood, education, and advocacy. So thank you both for being on.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, absolutely. That was a mouthful, but all right. You guys got a lot of accomplishments. So,
Thank you.
so it is March, and it is Multiple Sclerosis Awareness Month. For people who know the term multiple sclerosis or MS, I think a lot of people have heard us, especially in our community. Can you guys tell us what actually is MS?
Yeah. So MS is a condition where the body attacks the nerves, and it makes it harder for our brains and our body to communicate with each other. And because of this, it causes like extreme fatigue, more so than the everyday person's fatigue. It's no comparison. Pain, sometimes, a lot of times, vision problems, movement problems. But the one thing that's different is it looks different on everybody.
Okay. Yeah, I have a friend who has a relative who is suffering through MS, and a lot of it is movement problems and things like that. So that makes sense. So what inspired you guys to start this organization? I mean, well, one, it's a sorority, so explain why that was the choice, and also the general inspiration for starting this.
Angie?
So we initially were in an organization / sorority for women with chronic illnesses. So with that organization, you could have any type of chronic illness. For the four of us, we all had, our whole line had MS. We all had relapsing, remitting MS. It's just, as Dr. Conway mentioned, it looked different on each of us. We ended up leaving for different reasons. Myself, Dr. Conway, and our other two founders, Tiffany and Jessica, we decided, hey, we can do this too, and just focus on what we know, which is multiple sclerosis. That's where AAP was birthed. And we actually came out to the world earlier than we were supposed to. When we went to go do our shoot for our pictures for our website, the photographer, he asked us about, our stories and what our organization was about. And we told him, and he was just intrigued by our story. So he put it on his Instagram. And it just got out. So we ended up having to go ahead and put ourselves out to the world a little earlier than we anticipated, but it's just been uphill from there.
Oh, interesting. So it's not even for the two of you. It's not even sort of like this is, because normally these organizations start with like a familiar connection, like my parents have MS or something like that. But for you guys, it's a direct connection.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that makes, I guess, the awareness and the work for it like much more like existential for you guys. Like this is your lives. So
right.
I appreciate you guys saying that. So okay, you were in this other. Was that a sorority as well, or was that just an organization? That was a sorority.
It was a sorority.
Right? Sorority.
So what is it about the sort of sorority, I guess, design that made that be like, okay, we're gonna do this thing on our own, but it's got to be a sorority as well? I'm curious about that. Is it the sisterhood aspect of it?
Yeah, it's the sisterhood. Yeah, it's the sisterhood aspect. And it was being among a group of women who share the same things and experience the same things that I experience. Is one thing to be able to talk to your family members about how you feel, but let's be honest, they don't understand. But if I can talk to one of my sisters about it, they understand what I'm going through and why I'm going through it. Sometimes they even can say, hey, well, ask your neurologist about this, or have you done that? So I think that was the difference. I've always wanted to, even in undergrad and all of that, I wanted to be in a sorority, but I was too busy doing other stuff, honestly, and I just didn't, the time commitment for it, I just didn't want to do it. And I was like, man, what, we could start our own thing. We can be different, and just gather and just, be amongst women who want the same thing, who want to do the same thing.
Yeah, no, I think that's powerful. I'll go to you, Angie. Like, how do you guys? How many folks are a part of the sorority, actually?
Right now, we have over 45 members. We have we have we've had 5 lines to come through since 2021.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. So, we're going strong, and we're currently recruiting right now, for more women to come into the organization.
So, okay, so walk me through. They joined the sorority. I've never been a part of a fraternity or anything, so I'm like, pardon my ignorance. Okay, I went to a very small college, didn't have any Greek life, anything. So they joined the sorority. I guess this is sort of mirroring what everyone would think of as a traditional sorority kind of. I assume no hazing, but yeah, maybe, I don't know. No. Fair enough. Just a thought I'd ask. So you have this situation, and these women come to you. What is it? Just a organization where you get to just be around other people who are going through what you're going through? How do they support each other? What are the sort of programs that you guys have set up? How does that work?
Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, so it is a process. And I do want to be specific when I say that we are not the D9, which is the Divine Nine. And, your typical Divine Nines is the Alphas, the AKAs, Deltas. We're not them. We function completely different, in all respect to them, because they laid the blueprint. Okay. But we function different because we are a chronic illness organization. When you look at us, you would think, looking at us, yeah, they're a sorority. They're not D9, but they're sorority. We're not collegiate. But we function different because of our chronic illness. So some of the things that you may traditionally do with a sorority, some of us just can't do because of limitations, because of our illness. So it is a process. They have to join the interest group. They have to apply. They go through a 2-part interview process. And from there, they'll go through, if chosen, they'll go through a 12-week process of learning about AAP, from how we started up to now, different things that they'll learn. And then they go through a process to be inducted into the organization. And then they're a member from there. And we do several things. We're spread out. I'm in Georgia. Lekeia and Tiffany are in Maryland, and then Jessica's in Florida. And then we have members in North Carolina, South Carolina, Louisiana, as far as Texas. So we're spread out. So we try to get together as often as possible. We do community service events together when we can. I'm from North Carolina, so when I go home, I connect with the sisters there, and we'll do things together. If it's just to get together and have lunch and discuss what's going on, or just doing some kind of community service events, because we do have some members that are actually in D9s. So we do have some D9 members as well in the organization, but we're not just a support group. We do get out in the community. We're big on community service, giving back to the community. We do MS events a lot, especially with the National MS Society. We do a lot of things with them. Matter of fact, they have a Black MS Experience expo coming up here in Atlanta in April. So some of us will be there. So we do more than just support.
Okay, that's awesome.
And then we do more than, yes, we are a MS sorority, but sometimes we want to get away from just always talking about MS. So we've done things on credit. We've done things on business, starting your own business. We've done things on sex, relationships. I think we have a self-defense class coming up. So we do a lot of things. We host a lot of things to invite others in the community in, and just to be a part and to learn something different.
I appreciate that. So you don't let the disorder sort of define who you are, right?
Absolutely not.
Right. It's like this is a place for people who have that commonality, but like it's not going to be all MS all the time kind of conversation.
Right.
That makes total sense. And I think it's important if you're building a community, even if you're building a community around this very specific thing, to then sort of take that and use that as a way to expand sort of the minds or the experiences of the people who are in it, and using them as a way to expand out. That makes total sense to me. Yeah, it's interesting. I was reading some statistics on MS, which I found really fascinating, and very specifically because, obviously this is a sorority. I assume this is a largely Black women's sorority. So some interesting stats on MS affecting Black women, which I did not know, that Black women, women apparently are like 3 or 4 times more likely to get MS than men. It's like 70. I saw something that said 74% of people with MS in the U.S. are women. I did not realize that. So yeah, I feel like people should know that. Like that's just kind of a wild statistic. And then also that Black women are statistically much more higher likely than other groups to get this as well. So if if you're listening to this and you know a Black woman or you are a Black woman, this potentially can affect you. Was it 10 out of every 100,000 folks with MS are Black? So, and I guess the majority of them are women. So, yeah, that's a pretty scary statistic. I mean, how did you guys both handle your diagnosis? Because you're both very young. I know a lot of people, a lot of times think of MS as being diagnosed when people are much older. How did you guys deal with it personally, if you don't mind me asking?
I was diagnosed like fresh out of college. So
Really?
I was in my 20s. So for me, I felt like it was a death sentence. Like I was like, am I getting ready to die? Like, what's getting ready to happen? What is this? I had never heard of it. Nobody in my family has it. So it's kind of like, is this a joke? Like, no, for real, is this a joke? And initially, I think I just kind of just took it in, and the medications, treatments was through at me, and I had to talk to this person, go do this test, do that. I didn't have time to digest it because everything was coming at me at one time of what I needed to do to kind of slow the progression down. But once I sat with it, I was depressed.
Sure.
Because I thought, life was over and I couldn't do the things that I wanted to do. And I couldn't continue with my education, having children, like all of that. I just thought it was over. And slowly but surely, I think I just started to regain that power back, knowing that, okay, this is not a death sentence. You're going to be fine. You can do this. Like, you're going to be okay. Get some supports, get the medication, and keep it pushing. Like, you have to talk to yourself like that sometimes.
Yeah, no, I can't imagine. You said you were fresh out of college. I mean, so you're like 22 years old. So
yeah,
wow, that is wow. Like it's funny. The one person that I know who has MS, I mean, they were, I assume, like about their 40s or something like that at the time that they were diagnosed. So I think, at least in my mind, I think of being diagnosed with MS, you're much more, quote unquote, established as an adult kind of in life or older. And what about you, Angie? How old were you?
I was 43. I just got diagnosed in 2019. Nobody in my family had it. I knew about MS. A lot of people don't go back this far, but Richard Pryor had it.
Right. Yeah.
Montel Williams has it. The R&B singer Tamia has it. So that's what I knew about it. I knew they had MS, but I did not know about it in detail and what it did and what it was, and that there were 4 types that you could have. And they start from least aggressive to the most aggressive. It's just a lot. And mine started out as a vertigo spell that I had for 2 months. Oh, and the thing that I tell people now is that there may be a lot of us walking around with it and we don't even know we have it, because for me, I was going to the doctor for the vertigo, not realizing that vertigo is a symptom of MS. So it's a progressive illness. And the medicines that they give us, they don't cure it. They just slow the progression. And I think a lot of people do not understand or know that yeah, we're on medications, but it's not curing it. It's just slowing the progression. And for me, when I was in the doctor's office at the time, you know, I've been married to my husband for this year, be 25 years. He was in Iraq at the time. Wow. And he's on the phone on spot. I got him on Skype. My mom's with me. And, you know, when I went to the neurologist, I already had an established relationship with him because he had helped my mom because she had a lesion wrapped around her spine that was cutting off her ability to walk. And he took the time to get to the core of what it was. Because, you know, when you're older, they say everything's because of your age. And I waited 2 months to see him. That's how booked out he was. Right. So I dealt with that vertigo until the end of August. It started in June. I didn't see him till the end of August. By the time I saw him, my symptoms had changed to stroke-like symptoms, which MS is similar to a stroke as well. And so he told me, you either had a mini stroke or you have MS. So he immediately sent me for an MRI, confirmed it was MS because all of my lesions were on my brain. And that's why I was having the stroke-like symptoms. I wasn't really having any issues with walking. I would have balance issues. When I would have an episode, my face would pull like I'm having a stroke. Right. And I'm looking at him and trying not to cry. And I'm like, if I blink, I'm going to cry. And I blink and I'm crying. But when I got home, I just screamed and yelled. And my son, he was 21 at the time. And he called me. He was like, Mom, how was your appointment? And I told him it was okay. But when he got home, I told him what it was. Right. Mm-hmm. I'm sorry. This is the only part that makes me emotional when I talk about having to tell him. But I didn't want to tell him because he worked a ways from home, and I didn't want that on his mind. And then he's not paying attention to the road, and he gets in an accident. So when he got home, I told him. And he did the exact same thing I did in that doctor's office. He's just staring at me, trying not to cry. Because, you know, my husband's not here. So he's like, you know, I'm the man of the house while Dad's gone. So he starts crying. And the first thing he asks, are you going to die? I'm like, no, baby. And I found some support groups more so for him, not for me. Because I wanted him to see other people living with it. And they're still living normal lives. There was a couple that came in that support group. They both had it, the husband and wife. And they came in happy, joking, and just living life. And I think with that made me feel better for him to see, okay, there's people living there. My mom's going to be okay. My husband, I wasn't so concerned with because my husband is he's a nerd, a big nerd. So when he found out I had it, he immediately started looking it up to see what it was, to see how when he got home, how he was going to have to deal with his wife now having something like that. So I didn't take it like Lekeia and so many people do, because I just, like, once I screamed and got it out, I gave it to God. I'm like, you know, control what you can control and do what you need to do. You can still live life. You just have to do things a little different.
Well, I'm sorry to bring that up and, you know, sort of reopen that for you.
It's
I apologize.
Okay. No, it's okay.
I mean, I just, and I appreciate you being very honest and candid about that. I really do. Both of you. It is interesting that I didn't realize until you were talking about that there's different types of MS and, you know, and things like this. I mean, I think that's the whole point of this month, right? Which is this idea, and the point of your organization is to bring quite literally this awareness that people just do not have, which is oh, you have MS, and then, you know, it is what it is, and we kind of put you in that category, and we just kind of keep it moving. But I think telling your stories and, you know, being very candid about how you dealt with your diagnosis, what you guys are doing to sort of take this, I think, very scary situation, at least initially, and say, you know what, all right, this is not a death sentence. Let's make it do what it does, and then, you know, you kind of turn it into something different. I think, like, I applaud you massively for that, just because I know it's so easy for people to just go, oh, well, that person's got a thing, I don't want to have anything to do with it, best of luck type of thing. But you still have to live. Like, you still got to get up on Monday and, you know, like, put your socks on and go to work or do whatever you have to do. So I appreciate you guys being able to take that sort of diagnosis and make it into something special. So from the sad part, let's slide over and, you know, put some smiles back on your faces here. What does success look like in your organization? Because you have 45 people, you said, that have joined the organization. You wouldn't have 45 people if it ain't doing something. So what are the stories that you hear from people, these women who are in this organization? Because they've got to be coming to you like, hey, I'm around people going through it like me. So what are some positives that you've heard or that you guys see?
I think one of the biggest things is the support. Myself, Angie, Tiff, and Jessica, that was one thing that we had and we do have is supports of our family members, our friends. Not everybody has that. So I feel like sometimes when they come to us, they kind of come to us broken, and they kind of come to us saying, you know, I don't have anybody who cares. I don't have anybody who can just sit on the phone while I cry. And we have sisters that do that. And I think that's one of the biggest things that they like is the sisterhood. They like the events that we do. We did a sister trip last summer to Tennessee. One of our events committee planned that, and at first it's like, y'all want us to go over here with these black bears going up these mountains. We was going around curves. I was like, oh, we for sure get ready to fall off a curve. I was the only one that could fit on the road. But it was just a chance to get together and be together. And we ate that weekend, we cried, we laughed, and we just enjoyed each other and learned so much about each other. And in those moments, it was just like, it just couldn't be explained. You just had to be there to get it and to, I don't know, just enjoy.
That's awesome. Look, I've said this to people in those kind of situations before. Look, if you're on the road and you're worried about these black bears, whatever, you've done harder stuff. You've done harder stuff. Like, what you're doing right now is harder than that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you guys are doing something that's harder than that. So what I'm saying means absolutely nothing to your experiences, obviously, but just kind of keep that in the back of your mind. Like, when you're like, oh, what are we doing? You've done harder stuff. You have.
Right.
Easy. Angie, what does that success look like for you? Like, what are stories that you've dealt with or heard from people who are in the organization with you?
They're similar, as she said, to ours, where we have support, but some of them don't. And there are a ton of MS groups on Facebook. I was in a lot of them, and I had to come out of them because they can be depressing. But what was the line for me, the last one I was in, a young lady had talked about her and her husband and their two kids that went out to dinner, and they were leaving out. She had an episode and she fell. And he was fussing at her how she was embarrassing him. He wasn't helping her get up. The kids are screaming because they're worried about mommy. And this stranger's just coming to help her. And he had alienated her from all her family. She didn't have anyone to go to. So she had to go to a shelter to get away from him. And that was just the breaking point for me. Because Lekeia tell you, I'm an emotional person. I cry over the smallest thing. Yeah. And I that just broke my heart to hear. And I was like, I can't be in these groups anymore. And you hear things like that. You hear a lot of the women that come in, like, you know, my family doesn't understand. I can't talk to them, even if they had for years, because some of them had it longer than we have.
Mm-hmm.
And some of them are like their families like, oh, well, there's nothing wrong with you. You don't look sick. We get that all the time that we don't look sick. But I have a sticker in the back of my car that the MS Foundation sent me in a welcome pack when I first got it. And it said, now all disabilities are visible. So you can't look at somebody and determine that they're not sick or ill. If you see me parking a handicap, which I do a lot in the summer, because I just covered this on my podcast, we have heat and cold sensitivity. So some of us can't deal with heat. Some of us can't deal with cold. Some can't deal with either. So in the summertime, I'm in Georgia, it gets hot down here. So I utilize my handicap sticker quite frequently.
Yeah.
And you will have people that look at you and just like, why are you parking there?
Right.
And I went to that sticker and I keep it moving because it's not your business for me to tell that to. I don't know you. And we hear a lot of that, you know, where people get judged because they don't look sick. And they need people who understand to talk to. And again, just to piggyback off of what she said earlier, it's not that our family and our friends don't support us. It's just if I have an episode, or we all share fatigue in common, we all share the brain fog in common. So if I'm having an issue one day, my episode, I can call Lekeia, I can call Tiffany and be like, hey, this is going on. They're going to understand. They're not going to question it. They're just going to be there to listen. And that's what you need with dealing with these types of illnesses. You just need somebody that's going to understand and listen and not judge you or question the fact that you have these things going on. And that's a lot of what we hear from some of these women that come into the organization. But my biggest thing is for us, for EAP to be around when we're fossils, when we're gone.
Yeah.
You know, I want it to be around and going. That's my goal for the organization.
I think another thing that we hear too, some of the women that come through always wanted to join a sorority. So it's kind of like, oh, it kind of combines something that I'm dealing with on an everyday basis and my desire to be a part of a sisterhood. So that attracts them as well too.
Oh, interesting. Oh, a little 2 for 1. Fair enough. Like, I didn't do it in college, but like, you know what? Now I can. That's cool.
Right.
That's cool. Ain't nothing wrong with that. So let me ask you a question. I mean, you talked about the idea of you don't look sick, right? Like that comment. I'm sure that happens a lot. What are other misconceptions that you guys have found through your own experiences or through hearing about people's experiences in your organization? What are some misconceptions about MS that are common?
The brain fog is another thing people, because with the brain fog, you forget. We forget a lot. We have, if you came in my office right now, you're going to see sticky notes all over the place. Yeah. You're going to see calendars all over the house because I have to write stuff down. And I push to the ladies in the organization since the start. We have these expensive smartphones. Utilize the calendar in them. Because now all you have to do is talk to it and say, hey, Siri, or hey, Google, set me a reminder for this, that, other. We have to, because we forget. And I think sometimes we can had a conversation with someone and forget what we talked about 5 minutes later. And I think sometimes people will be like, oh, you're faking. Ain't nothing wrong with you. You just don't want to remember. You didn't listen to what I said. And it's not that. It's just MS has cognitive issues that come with it. And that's one of them. We just forget. And it can be frustrating because we're not faking. We just forget. You know, one of my friends got upset with me because I couldn't go out. I was supposed to go out with her, but when we wake up in the morning, we don't know what our day is going to look like, because, and the best way to put it for someone who doesn't have it to understand, we have spoons. We get, just an example, we may get 12 spoons of energy for the day. Getting out of bed takes 2 spoons. So now we got 10 left. Just little small activities that wouldn't take energy from a normal person takes from us. And a lot of the times we're doing something, we don't realize we're doing so much, we're eating into our spoon reserves for the next day. So
that's a very good analogy. Yeah.
They don't understand, you know, and it's a lot. And I think even like, that's why a lot of the events we have, especially when we're talking about MS, we like to leave it open for the public to come, because you may have a family member that shows these symptoms. You can come and get this information and go back to them and be like, hey, you might want to go get checked. My mom's first was 91. She'll be 91 next month. And her first cousin was experiencing vertigo. And I told my mom, I said, well, tell her to go to neurologist, have them check her. It's nothing for them to do an MRI and just to check to see if she has it, because you don't want it to progress so much that you're stuck. Because I have a friend that had it. She got diagnosed in 2006. Her brain was full of lesions to the point they couldn't do anything. She can't walk now. She can't talk. And they said she never will again. Wow. She can't do anything. Mm-hmm. So you want to, check those things out. Listen to your body. Mm-hmm. And advocate for yourself, because sometimes these doctors will tell you, oh, you're tripping. It's not that. And if you get that, go to another doctor and get a second opinion.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Because it's your life.
Yeah, it's your life.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there's nothing wrong with saying, like, okay, I hear you. I'm going to go talk to someone else. And look, if both of you agree, then, all right. Like, you don't have to worry about disappointing your doctor. They'll be fine.
Right.
They will.
They'll be totally, trust me, the insurance payments go through. They're
right.
So okay. What is? I'm deeply fascinated by the two of you going through this yourselves and doing this organization. I think that's really powerful. Like, when you're sort of waking up and you're going through the motions of the day working in this organization, have you found that there are moments where you're just like, something happens with you or with one of the people in the organization, the sorority, that just like puts a huge smile on your face? Like, you see somebody who kind of comes in and they may be a little bit more shy and reserved. After a couple months, they're like this bubbly person because they get to be around people. Like, what are some of those kind of like big breakthrough moments that you're like, wow, I did not expect that from Angie. I thought she was going to be this way. I didn't expect this from Lekeia, like, type of thing. Have you had those moments yet? I mean, maybe not. Yeah, I don't know.
I think we have. We have. It's a couple of people, and I'm going to name some names because I'm going to shout them out because I love them so dearly. So I'll start with the first line. Jackie. Jackie was super quiet. She didn't like really want to talk, didn't really want to, I mean, she engaged, but not really. Jackie is now an intake coordinator. She's one of our teachers along with Tammy. Tammy never had a problem. Tammy was on the second line. Tammy didn't have a problem with communicating and being a teacher, but Jackie, she was the quiet one, and I'm so proud of how far she has come with coming out of her shell and just interacting and just really allowing her other side to come out. Mm-hmm. And then we have Tamisha. Tamisha came through on the last line. Let me tell you, I don't know. When I tell you if fired up could be a person, she is her. Okay. She came through. And from the very beginning, Tamisha was Team AEP. She was our ride or die. She was everything. And she took our interest group from like 50. I think we're at like 210 right now. And I always tell them, what do y'all talk about? Because the way my phone dings with them talking, having conversations, and just going back and forth and laughing, they really enjoy themselves in that interest group. And they talk about a lot of things. They support each other. And they can't wait to become a part of this organization. I think we have like almost 35 applicants right now who are waiting to be interviewed to be a part of AEP. So those are my two.
Wow. So you're almost doubling. You're almost doubling the organization with just this waiting group. Jeez.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Amazing. Yeah. And Angie, you want to shout some people out?
She took mine. I was going to say Jackie. Her name is Quiet Storm because she was quiet.
Yes.
She can be now. She's living up to the storm. Okay. So she was one. There's one, Christina. I want to shout her out because she's part of the fourth line. I think. Yeah, she's the line before this last one. She's very quiet and reserved and shy. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm gonna break her out of her shell because I'm very vocal.
Okay, there you go. I hope you're listening.
She's just so freaking sweet. She really is. And I did a like a little commercial type deal on my podcast for fatigue, about what is MS fatigue, because I wanted people to understand what fatigue is, and it looks different for everybody. Sure. And you could tell she was nervous. She was like, "That's okay." I said, "You did fine. You did fine." You know, I could tell she was nervous because I know how she is, but she's just a sweetheart. And Tamisha, that girl been here before. She has an old spirit. She's very country. She's a country girl,
Right.
and she's definitely been here before. But she did, her whole line came out and hit the ground running.
Yes.
And she came in. She's like, "Where do you need me? Where do you need me to work?" She didn't care, and she went into that interest group. Like she said, she took it from 50. We like, I tried, Lekeia tried, Tiffany tried, Tammy tried, Jackie tried. I don't know, we were just too dry and boring for them. I don't know, but she did something, and those ladies just took to her. They love her. Those ladies, and they're not even in an organization yet, and they love her so much. And that makes me like a proud mama, because you know, she's doing, like, she is ride or die for AP. When she goes to her doctors, she's shouting, like, she wear her stuff. She's like, "Yeah, I'm part of AP," and people ask her questions. What is that? You know, she's going into the MS groups talking about us. And I also have to shout out my sunshine, Desiree. She's from our first line. She's over our marketing committee. She and Asia are part of the reason why we're talking to you today. So I have to shout both of them out, because she does her thing. She's on that committee by herself, and she gets the job done. Marketing is hard. A lot of people don't like to be on marketing. I didn't, but she does her thing. So I have to shout her and Asia out as well.
Okay, that's awesome. All right. So yeah, look, make sure you go to aepmssorority.org. That's where you can see pictures of you guys on there, which is pretty awesome. But you can find out more about the events that you guys do. I assume you can actually find out about seeking membership here and things like that. So please go, again, aepmssorority.org to get all that information. So this is a time in the conversation where it's called Get on the Box. I'm going to say a little bit, and then I'm going to leave it to the two of you. We'll go to Dr. Conway first, and then Angie after that. Just what do you guys want people to take away from this conversation? So what I'll say is, I'll get on the box first. Look, my admiration for your organization is immense. If you can't tell already, I think what you guys are doing is amazing. I appreciate you guys telling your stories personally. I think those are deeply powerful. I think a lot of people don't realize that, one, women suffer from this disproportionately than men. And I know our health system in the United States and around the world definitely does not focus nearly as much on women as it should, putting it quite mildly. And I certainly would say that Black women very much, it makes it that much higher of a sort of disparity. And that Black women very specifically are at higher risk for MS than seemingly most groups in the United States. So I think it's important that you guys are bringing this awareness, especially just for MS Awareness Month, but in general. And I think the work that you guys are doing is really awesome. Sort of taking this diagnosis, giving it community, and then doing something special with it. Because, we're people on the outside, myself included, we only know what you tell us. And so we cannot go through it. We can empathize, but that's as far as we can get to this. But having that community with anything, like even with Black folks, having a community of other Black folks to just talk about being Black matters, right? It does matter. And other people are going, "Oh, tell me about it." Yeah, well, I can tell you about it, but you experience it differently. So you guys have built this organization, or the sorority rather, and I think that's really powerful. And what you're doing is awesome. So please keep up the work. I'm happy to hear that you got 35 more people coming in. That's awesome. It's super, super cool. So I'm gonna get off the box. Dr. Conway, it's on you.
Let's
No
see. Get around, if you have MS, get around a great support system. Tap into the people who understand what you're going through. Tap into those who don't understand and educate them. Get into some type of educational classes so that you can learn yourself of what's going on with you so that you can be able to talk to somebody else. Let them know about AEP. AEP is here. AEP will be 5 years old in August. And we're not going anywhere. We are a great sisterhood. We love on our sisters. We laugh, we joke, we cry, we get mad at each other just like sisters do. We come back to each other just like sisters do. Don't let anybody judge you. Don't let anybody make you feel bad for how you're feeling. If you can't go out, if you're tired, if you just don't remember something, don't let them make you feel bad. It's quite normal, and you will be just fine. Keep on moving. MS is not a death wish. MS shouldn't stop you. I got my doctorate after I was diagnosed, so that should motivate you. You can still do it. It might have been a little harder for me to memorize stuff and to do tests and to write that long paper that I don't think nobody read, but I did it. So
somebody wrote it.
Yeah. So you can too. You can do whatever you put your mind to.
Excellent.
All right, Angie, it's your turn.
My biggest thing is to make sure you're advocating for yourself, because nobody can advocate for you like you can. You know, if you don't like the diagnosis one doctor gives you, you have the right to go to another doctor to get another opinion. If you want to go to another one after that, that is your right as a patient to do that. Just make sure, you know, you find out, learn as much as you can so that you can have that open conversation with your doctor. I know it's hard to find out that you have an illness that there is no cure for, but as we always say in our community, we have MS that doesn't have us. And we're called MS warriors for a reason. And we will fight this fight as long as we can. We will do it together. You're not alone. AEP is here. As Dr. Conway said, we're here to support you in any way that we can. We do have a strong sisterhood, and we show up for each other as much as we possibly can. Even with us founders, like we've been going strong since 2020, and we put ourselves on the back burners to make sure our sorors are okay. And we go through a lot, you know, up here until here recently. A lot of my the sorors didn't even know that my MS had changed. Now I'm having dementia-like issues where I forget where I'm at. So, you know, I could sit and cry about it, but I don't. My husband and my son will tell you, like, you know, I go on and I do what I need to do, because you have to deal with things that you can control. And that's how I live my life. I'm not letting it keep me from doing whatever. I was like her. I was in my bachelor's program when I found out I had to stop. But when I went back, I was on the dean's list every semester. I'm a part of Delta Mu Delta International Business National Honor Society. So I did my thing when I went back. I was not going to let my MS stop me from achieving a goal. And that was to let my mom see her baby. I'm the youngest and only girl of 5 kids. She was going to see her baby walk across that stage where she left here. And that was my goal, to do that. And for my son to see me too, because he's in college. So I was able to accomplish those things. AEP is another accomplishment. I love what we came together. It was a lot of blood, sweat, and tears. We got mad at each other in the process. We cried, we laughed. It was
yes.
But we got what we set out to do accomplished. And we have amazing sorors from that first line to this line we have now. And even with some of the ladies that are getting ready to come in, they're awesome. We've had the opportunity to interact. They come to a lot of our events. We've had an opportunity to interact with them, and they're awesome. So what I want, anybody who's just newly diagnosed or been living with it, you have a support system in us. If you need somebody, we're here. Don't ever think you have to fight this illness alone, because you don't.
Yep.
And always remember, we're in this together in love. That is one of our slogans, together in love.
Excellent.
Together in love. So come on over. We're waiting for you.
Right. And somebody asked, you know, how do people get into this group? So again, if you go to aepmssorority.org, You can find out information about joining the sorority and seeing all the events and contact information, and talk to Dr. Conway and Angie, and join up. Look how positive and happy they look, like undefeated. I love it. So, look, I'd love to keep this conversation going. I'm in awe of the work you guys are doing. I think it's just awesome. But our time has unfortunately come to an end. Thank you both for giving us your time. I really appreciate you and letting everybody know about your organization and about MS Awareness Month. Look, if you know somebody with MS, tell them about AEP. Reach out to them, see how they're doing. If you haven't talked to them in a while, as my co-host would say, call a senior. Don't text them. And I would say the same thing about folks with MS. Call them, see how they're doing. Don't just text them. So thank you both, and we will see you guys next week.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.